Hey everyone, welcome back to Heartland Farms. This year we went to one of our local apple orchards up here in Michigan, and this is what we found.
Good job.
No, I can eat it.
You can eat it.
So this year we found that the apples were so ginormous and they were extremely sweet. Like the trees were literally bending over from the weight of these apples. We had a ton of fun picking them. We picked about 2.5 bushels of apples for all of our apple products this year. Of course, once we were done picking the bushels, we figured, like, why not? Let's check out to see what other activities. Like many orchards, this one had fresh donuts you could eat, crushed apple cider, and of course, all the activities you could think of. So we checked out their pumpkin patch. Halloween was just around the corner at that time, so we decided, hey, let's get a pumpkin for June. She had a ton of fun searching through all of these pumpkins. The patch was absolutely ginormous. And all these pumpkins, they were all shapes and sizes and different colors, and some were as large as she was. It was kind of cute to see her next to these giant pumpkins. I was like, don't, and like deep down inside, Cody and I were like, don't pick that one, don't pick that one. Once we got home, we got straight to work. So one of the first things we had to make was apple cider / apple juice. It's kind of our own homemade hybrid of the two. What we do for that is that we peel them, we core them, and then we just throw the slices with some water and a bunch of seasonings into a crock pot. We let that run on high for about 8 hours. When that is done, we just strain it all out and kind of press down, make sure we get all that juice out and that flavor. We just use a simple fine metal strainer. We don't really use nothing too fancy. In the past, we used a cheesecloth to over the metal strainer just to be that like really fine and not get as many like clumps. It would make it really like clear. The liquid would be very clear when you almost like a juice. But we kind of like our apple cider, you know, kind of chunky, a little bit that typical apple cider look. So what we decided to do is omit the cheesecloth. It saved us on time and also saved us on resources because we weren't buying cheesecloth, which isn't super cheap. We also made apple butter. So apple butter is kind of similar process to apple cider or apple juice. You peel them, core them, cut them, but you add less water and more seasoning and a lot more sugar. You cook that around about, I want to say on high as well, for about 8 hours. And after that, it's like almost the consistency of apple cider. And we spoon that into like little serving size, like what you do for condiment mason jars, and we can those up. I tried something new this year. I tried making my own applesauce. I wanted it to be like, I don't like spending hours in the kitchen. I want it to be one thing done, simple steps, not adding a ton of complexity, because then it's more things to like clean up afterwards, and who likes to do dishes? So it was a Lazy Man's sugar-free apple sauce, and it came out delicious. Again, peel, core, cut, and then I just cooked the apples down into like a giant pot. It took me like about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to just like stirring, cooking it down. I add a little bit of water and cinnamon to taste. After that, I used my immersion blender and blended it all up. It was a little chunkier than what you would get at the store, but we really liked it. I only did 9 pints because I was kind of trying something new. Unfortunately, I only did 9 pints. Juniper's eaten like 6 of them and she eats the whole pint by herself. It's like, okay, I should have made more on that. Last but not least, we made apple chips. So So apple chips are, I love this. This is such a versatile snack. It's super easy. Like if you have little ones, it's perfect because it's like, it stores really easily. You can take it on trips really easy, and that way they're not snacking like on crackers or a lot of processed food throughout the day. They have something that's a fruit, it's dry, and it's not messy. Again, the same process. You're peeling the apples, you core them, and then you slice them very thinly until apple slices, and you lay those out on a dehydrator. I don't have a good recommendation for how to set your dehydrator. I tried mine this year, worked really well on high. I started out on low and I would run that for a couple days. I'm like, this isn't doing anything. So then I bumped it up to high. And I had a hard time, like it took me a while to get the apples done. But once they were done, I stored them in the tinted half-gallon mason jars. And just no processing, just screwed the lid on, stuck them in our food pantry. So to can all this stuff, we canned the applesauce, the apple butter, and the apple cider. And we just use a hot water. We didn't use the pressure canner, we used a hot water bath. And what you do is you have a big thing of hot water boiling, and you stick it all in. Make sure that the contents are hot, jars are hot, everything's sterile, everything's wiped down. And that way you don't get any chance of botulism spores. We use the Ball Blue book for preserving. And we followed this for how long to run that hot water bath. And if it was a little bit larger than what they recommended, I added like 10, 15 minutes, and then made sure that the tops were suctioned down when we pulled them out. We have our own recipes that we cherish and that we follow. So I didn't use any recipes from this book, I just used it for preserving, but I'm sure like they're amazing. I know I've referenced this book in another video. Again, this book is kind of like our cornerstone for canning, or my cornerstone for canning. They're not supporting us in any way. This is just like, this book has helped me a lot with finding canning recipes and making sure that things are canned safely for my family. And so that's why I'm recommending it. It's super easy to find, local big box store, and you can just pick it up in their canning aisle. And it wasn't very expensive. So if you remember from our introduction video, last year we had a garden that we were able to get a harvest off of and can and preserve that. It was mostly tomato, and we did our apple products. We hit our apple butter a little harder, but I think it's because we didn't have as many other condiments, so apple butter was it. What I've kind of noticed is like right now it's really hard to predict exactly how much of a certain type of food we'll eat. So for last year, we ate a ton of apple butter. And like the year we did apples before that, it was all apple butter, and like we hardly ever touched the applesauce. So this year I was like, we'll just do 9 pints of applesauce, see what happens, and we are devouring that and hardly touching the apple butter. It's like, that's kind of hard because that's how much time and food you put in towards preserving that one type of item. So when that one doesn't go, it's kind of like, well, I have all of these jars, the stuff we just didn't eat, but we ate the year before. And that's kind of something that I've noticed in canning in general, is just trying to figure out how much of one thing you'll actually eat. But so we're just like, what we're doing is like, this is our second real year, like third year doing apples, second year doing fruit from our garden and preserving things. This past year we did fruit from our garden, and we went to the farmer's market to get other produce that didn't make it in our garden. And we just add that all in and preserved all of that. And so it's kind of curious to see like what we're eating throughout this winter and what we should be doing more of for next year. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to continue to support us, please like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. So until next time, y'all, take care. Bye-bye.